So yeah, Keri Hilson was on The Breakfast Club, and of course they brought up the infamous Keri Hilson Beyonce diss. But that's been like kind of a myth that's never really been addressed for over a decade, I feel like now.
Mm-hmm.
The Turning Me On remix, where Keri Hilson had the bars, because you're turning me off, your vision cloudy if you think that you're the best. You can dance, you can sing, but you need to move it to the left, to the left. Coincidence, right?
I think so.
I think the fuck not, you trick ass bitch.
I think they were overthinking those bars. Yeah.
That's how you feel about Carrie?
No, that's a meme. Sorry, I think the fuck not, you trick ass bitch is a meme. Not Carrie. Sorry.
But Keri Hilson said it's a regret.
Oh, is it Carrie? Is it? Did you regret that?
I'm not gonna let y'all do that because yes, that was a big pivot in her career.
Like, I love Keri Hilson. I thought it was. I mean, naturally, you know, I understand how fan bases turned, and you know, anybody going at, you know, Beyonce. This is how it probably would turn out for you, especially if you're an artist.
Well, you couldn't really clock fan bases at that time.
It was
not everything was on the internet, so the myth really became that like Beyonce had some like New Orleans Creole voodoo that just stopped her career at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fans think. But I'm sure there was some stuff behind the scenes. Like, let's not act like artists don't do that when they have power to shut certain shit down.
I can promise you Beyonce didn't have anything shut down for Keri.
Oh, I don't think Beyonce did either. But I'm not saying people close to Beyonce didn't.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think people put too much into that.
Publicists used to have a lot of power. Let's not act like back in the day publicists were not right next to the fucking CEO of the label as far as who could push what button.
Mm-hmm.
I could see a publicist doing that shit. All right, you want to play?
As far as that's it with anything though. When you're as successful as Beyonce was in 2009, and I would have to, Josh, can you look up what of Beyonce's was out during 2009? If you say, if the team goes, oh, if you work with this person, I won't work with this person when it comes to, I mean, we won't work with you anymore, whether it comes to producers, songwriters, anybody, like, yeah.
A lot of those reference tracks and all those ideas you were being sent in the fucking boatload of CDs slows up a little bit.
Was Single Ladies time? Clipped. Hang it up, flat screen.
Let's not act like Keri Hilson was not at least a big factor at that time.
No, Keri Hilson was here.
And first of all, that record did work outside of the diss record. Like
the remix didn't even work. Like nobody really paid attention to the remix though. The Turning Me On regular song was the big one.
And everyone was remixing it. That was one of the remixes that I think stood out. And let's not act like Carrie wasn't with Polo the Don at the time, who was one of the biggest producers in rap, R&B, and pop, who I do not think gets his flowers. He needs to be up there. I wish he did a verses so people like could realize what his catalog is like. Polo the Don was one of the best of that era. So she went on to say, but that's not the way people would think because that's a song I actually didn't write. Those are not my words. If you weren't around for that era, Esther Dean, who's one of the greatest writers of our generation, was writing a lot of the hits at that time, especially with Polo, and she wrote a lot of stuff for Carrie. So she was suggesting everyone was mad at me, but I didn't write it. Carrie, if it worked, would you be saying this? Like that kind of be that's my only issue with Carrie here. If that would have worked.
And Carrie became bigger as a result of that record?
Yeah, if it worked the way we saw 50 diss Ja and it was like, it went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Would 50 come and be like, nah, I didn't even write Wankster. That was someone else. No, it didn't work. So now you're going back to a regular thing within pop music. Esther was writing for everyone at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You recorded it.
Yeah.
Probably a bunch of takes. Found the one you liked the best with the picture. I understand that you were being pressured by the producer and your team and all that, but you have the final say. Even with the pressure, which I get, you still have the final say. I appreciate that you're coming back and saying, yo, I regret that. I'm fine with you saying you had pressure from your team, but don't be like, oh, it wasn't even me. I didn't even write it.
I mean,
you sang it.
Yeah, but again, I like, the way you're posing the question. If it worked, would she be saying this? She would need to be saying it if it worked.
If someone brought that up, let's say in this hypothetical, we're not even going to go with that it destroyed Beyonce's career because that's a joke, even in a hypothetical. But let's say it made Carrie bigger and she was doing her legacy tour shit, sat with Charlemagne, and he was like, yo, that time when you dissed Beyonce, that was kind of like launched you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she would have went, what's crazy is I didn't even write that? No, she'd be like, yeah, that time was nuts. I was a little nervous. Like we were dissing someone that was so big.
Yeah.
She would have went that route.
Of course.
I think she would have still said she regretted it though, because whether it worked for her or destroyed her career, it was lame. Because Beyonce hadn't did anything to her.
Yeah,
so
I think as a woman, as a person, I think you grow. Yeah, as a person, you grow and you mature, you older, you look back at a lot of shit like that was so unnecessary. Like, Yes, I mean, I'm not saying she would have said, I didn't write it and all of that, but I'm sure she would have still, 15 years later, 16 years later, something like that. I don't think she would still be standing on that bar. Like, yeah, I said it. Like,
no,
that would just be absolutely crazy for her to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of stuff she put on Polo, like, I don't know if this is true. My album wasn't out yet, so it was like, you're not coming out if you didn't do this. I made that mistake, which again, maybe this did happen behind closed doors, but I also don't think a producer like Polo the Don that had already had so much results was like, you have to diss Beyonce or we're not putting you out. That someone had the talent of Keri Hilson and had record, like, I find that a little odd too. But then Esther Dean had came out and went on IG and said, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but more or less that she didn't feel great about it either because, it's not against women empowerment and sticking together. But she said she wrote like 4 or 5 verses to that, submitted all of them, wasn't even there, and that's the one they picked. So like, what do you want from me? I gave you a bunch of different versions. That's the one you picked. Then Keri Hilson replied and said, don't say co-wrote. Everything on there except for 3 lines that weren't even part of the diss I wrote. You wrote the entire thing. So what is Esther Dean supposed to say? It's still co-written.
Yeah, but I've
never seen someone try to take publishing away from themselves, Carrie.
Yeah, but all of this shit is like,
Don't
I get it.
co-wrote.
People still talking about this.
All right, so give her all the pub.
It's Beyonce. I get it, but it's been 15, 16 years, man. Like, do people even really care about this shit still?
Carrie cares.
It's still brought up in a niche community of music lovers. Yeah.
Every time Keri Hilson opens her mouth, Keri Hilson.
I'm about to say, who the fuck is Keri Hilson?
Keri Hilson. I'm thinking about Sierra. I'm sorry. Anytime Keri Hilson opens her mouth, people are reminded, like, damn, that voodoo really worked. Every single time. It's always brought up. Every single time she's in any interview, comments, everything. So she knows it's a big thing. It sucks because it would have been nice to see her have a career. She had a career, but to have like a longer career. But then again, who's to say if she didn't diss Beyonce that she wouldn't have went away anyway? We always say that.
Oh yeah.
Like people, even when people, and this is not, I'm not even gonna say that. But there are people that have died that people are like, oh, she would have been the biggest thing. And it's like, you don't know that. We've had so many pop girls that were huge and then we never heard from them again.
Yeah, people love doing that though. Yo, so-and-so didn't die. This person went to blue. It's like, fam, that's a lot of dudes that's still alive from that era that ain't shit.
And they was that guy.
A lot of trash music, trash albums, trash. It's like, so we not going to just make it seem like that person would have been on top or this. It's like, I hate when people do that. That's just like a talk because you can't prove it because the person's no longer here, unfortunately. But
I mean, Keri had Knock You Down with Neo and Kanye. Like, I thought that record was...
No, she had some... Keri Hilson has some records.
Pretty Girl Rock was fire.
She has some records.
Yeah. But one could make the case that it just was never the same after that.
Yeah. I get it. I understand.
I think it's cool that you're owning up to it and regretting it. I think that's how it's up. Is fine.
Do you think... So as far as the Esther Dean, because Keri's thing is like, this 16 years. Like, this has been a long time. Why? Like, you could have came out and say, oh, Keri ain't wrote that, right, that I wrote it. But I mean, I guess the onus still falls on Keri because you knew what that was about when you went into the studio and you laid that track down, whether you wrote it or not. So,
and I feel like, and again, no disrespect to Keri Hilson, I think Esther Dean is like, that's the record you're talking about? Like, look at my catalog. You think I even think about that remix at all? When I have Drop It Low, Super Bass, Love Suicide, Another Life.
No, Keri Hilson had records.
No, I'm saying from Esther Dean's side. Like, do you think Esther Dean is thinking about that fucking remix?
No, but
she has Diamond Records.
Yeah, Esther Dean. I mean, if you know, you know. A lot of people don't know who Esther Dean is, and like I said, a lot of new people outside, and they don't know. But if you know Esther Dean, you know she has hits. She's written some of the biggest records that we've heard. So, I mean, I just don't like people bringing up like. Because I know Keri, obviously she doesn't do a lot of interviews and doing Breakfast Club. Like you kind of figure they are going to bring that up. But I know she wants to get past that. Like she has to be tired of that just hanging over her.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, she said it and, whatever. Maybe she wanted she probably did want a back and forth with Beyonce, but that would have been probably worse. Yeah.
And also if you're submitting 3 different ideas, like Esther was probably just trying shit in the booth and sent it to Polo.
Yeah.
Like, all right, if you want to go this route, this is what I like. That's not her fault if you're submitting a bunch of stuff and you guys decide to pick the diss one. Like, it's a bunch of different ideas. And Esther wrote Rude Boy that year. I don't think she gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Yo.
At all.
Facts.
Wrote Sex Therapy for Robin Thicke.
And Back to the Crib. Remember, y'all don't remember Back to the Crib?
One of the rapiest hooks of all time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's what Esther should be coming to the podium for, not dissing Beyonce. She don't even know that we going back to the crib.
Yeah, it was wild times, man. You know what I'm saying?
She wrote Sex Therapy. That's one of my favorite songs in the world, like top 50 favorite songs in the world. She wrote Sex Therapy by Robin Thicke. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah, Esther Dean is not tripping about nothing. She's good. She's comfortable.
Yeah. And I mean, shit, some of the biggest Chris Brown records ever. That was the 1-2 punch, was her and Chris. Mm-hmm. But
damn, Invented Head by Chris Brown. Y'all wasn't there back in them days? Invented Head?
Demaris, you was 14 years old.
When Invented Head came out, I think I was around 14, actually. Yeah, I was in 9th grade.
14 years old. You ain't know nothing about sit at the head of the class. That's what you do, and do your goddamn homework.
No, Keri, Hilson, Trey Songz, and Usher. I'm about to reinvent sex. Mm-hmm. Keri got him like, what's next? What?
You were 13.
And I'm gonna make it my duty to have you so woozy you think I invented X. Please. Y'all wasn't outside, yo.
Demaris, you wasn't outside. You was 9 years old.
He was the definition of inside.
What are you talking about? Who wasn't there? You were not outside. You could not go outside.
No, I was on Facebook tweeting the lyrics. Because that was back before your parents was on Facebook. Your parents wasn't on Facebook. So my old Facebook statuses are insane.
Talking crazy. You would have been one of them girls that was on IG Live and they father come in the room with the belt and start tearing ass up. You would have definitely been one of them little girls. I can see Demaris getting her ass beat on IG Live. I can see it.
Saying you invented sex when your parents are in the room. It's impossible. No, they invented you with sex. You don't think I invented sex.
Kid shit.
Get off your fucking Facebook.
Oh my God.
Trying to get poked.
Kid shit. Trying to get poked.